You are watching the Big Dog Postgame Show, brought to you by Viner Forgates and the big dog himself, Rick Jacklich at the Jacklich Law Group.
Getting cold and dark here in Minneapolis, Maryland. Just doesn't really get it going today. 48-23, they lose, but until MJ Morris came in the last quarter, it was worse than that. This is the Big Dog Postgame Show. I'm Wayne Viner. Connie's behind the camera today. Both Mason and Bruce did not make the trip to Minnesota. It didn't start well. It didn't go well. And overall, is when you come in here and you expect to build on what happened with USC last week, which was the best quarters of Maryland football in a long time, it just didn't pan out. You have to wonder why this team cannot get it going on the road and what happened to cause that kind of drop-off. Now, it might be hard to believe, but Maryland only has about 10 fewer yards overall, about 430 to 420. Minnesota has the yardage. Maryland really close on the rush yardage. Once again, hard to believe. Passing game, well, it just wasn't as effective as you needed it to be today. You can take a look and say that Maryland didn't have any fumbles. They threw the 2 interceptions. One was a pick six. On this drive so far, it's 36. Billy turns. Quick off, coming right to us. He's going to score. Touchdown. One happened over my right shoulder, and Maryland seemed to be driving. You have to factor in that Maryland went for it on 4th down and short twice. Didn't get there. They also opened the second half going for it on 4th down. Billy runs the ball instead of throwing it. They don't get there.
Terps down by 31 on 4th and 8 from the 20. Here they go for it. Good pocket. Billy's not going to run that far. I'm not sure why you'd run there. He doesn't make it.
So you can make the case that ends up being 5 turnovers. It's 5 times Maryland had the ball where they didn't punt and they didn't score. I'm a bit at a loss, as everybody who watches this knows. We've been doing this a long time. And you expect, and that's probably a problem on the fan and media side, you expect to build on what happened last week. It just didn't happen, and it starts to raise questions that we thought might have been answered last week. So where do you go from here? Well, you have a bye week. So that can work out as you look into Oregon. Taking a trip to Oregon, that might not go as well as you'd like. You got Rutgers, Iowa, and Penn State to close this out. You're 4-4. You've got to find 2 wins someplace, or the 3-year bowl streak comes to an end. And you might not think that's overly important the way this season goes, but I'm going to tell you, getting to a bowl for 4th year in a row would be a big deal. You have to beat, I would think you have to beat Iowa and you have to beat Rutgers, and that's still going to be a tall task for this team. We'll be back to talk about what else we saw here in Minneapolis in a moment after this word from Rick Jacklich. We'll be back in Minnesota in a moment.
The Gophers have already scored a defensive touchdown this season, which means one lucky fan will be driving away in a brand new Toyota.
Really second and 20 here.
I'm Rick Jacklich, and I'm here with another big dog, Coach Kevin Willard, coach of our Maryland Terrapins. Coach, we're looking for a giant year from our Terp.
We're looking forward to a great year here in Maryland. But I hear you're coming off an all-time great year at your law firm with some amazing awards.
We've been very blessed, Coach, without a doubt. The awards this year include Best Civil Litigation Firm in the entire state of Maryland, Best Malpractice Law Firm in the entire state, That goes along with our other awards we've won over the years, including Best Personal Injury Trial Law Firm in the entire country. But it's not just me, Coach. It's every one of the lawyers in the law firm.
That's why we love you, Rick. So Terp fans, if your family's injured in a car crash, you'd be barking mad not to call Rick and the Big Dogs at the Jacklich Law Group at 855-BIG-DOG-1. And just tell them Coach sent you.
Thanks, Coach. And Terp fans, show your support for our coach and our basketball team and all the athletes at Maryland. Buy season tickets to come watch the Terps. And most of all,
Go Terps!
33-yard field goal attempt is good. Maryland 3.
Billy's got it. Billy scores.
Edwards, 3 yards into the end zone for a Maryland touchdown.
Comment on the field for an injured player on the offense, 55.
So with MJ and at quarterback, MJ Morris, here comes heavy drum with a tush push. Trying to flex out of it. Keep it. Throw it. Touchdown to, is that Sanders? It is.
Pass completed for 42 seconds for a
Player on the offense.
Another offensive lineman's out. Ryan Manning Jr., Dylan Wade in motion, and Shalik Knox all the way to the left. Williams is a tailback. 15 to get this shot off. 48-16 with 2:20 to go. Minnesota still has their starters in on defense. MJ zips it. And touchdown. Shalik Knox. So for those who are expecting Mason's rant tonight, I'm sure we will get that on the podcast. You can get your Young Terps podcast on all your usual places. But I can paraphrase the rant. I can paraphrase what I've heard from everybody who's been chiming and who knows that we spent today on the field here. And that is the overall disappointment that they just didn't bring it. They didn't have the energy. It didn't look like they had the full buy-in today. It just didn't look the way that you'd want it to look, figuring that you're going down the stretch here and you had some momentum. The disappointment across the landscape of Maryland is huge for today. We thought we brought this season back. You went from having a drive and an ending for the ages to just being flat. Sometimes that happens, but there's a lot of leadership on this team, a lot of seniors on this team to try and guard against a major letdown on the road. The road has been very tough for the Maryland football team over the past few years. We were joking before, if the bye week was on the road, you might have to pick the bye week because Maryland just has horrendous trouble on the road. What did you like that you saw today? It's a good question. I like the fact that even though they got down by a ton, they did keep fighting. MJ came in, he had a couple drives that went really well. They finally go back to the turtle push formation when they get near the goal line. They throw the ball instead of run it. I wish we would have seen the turtle push in a couple of 4th and shorts earlier in the game. I don't know why they don't use that formation. As we often say after a loss like this, is it going to make anybody stop coming or stop doing this? Of course not. We do this because we love it. We love this team, and we hope fervently hope that this thing gets turned around in the last 4 games of the season with a positive outcome. And I know that the recruiting side, Maryland's a top 20 recruiting class coming in, and that's not fading either. So yeah, there's a bright future here, but you'd like to win the games that you play, and you'd like it to be competitive. And once again, it just wasn't as competitive as a game as you would have liked. It's a beautiful place to play, and we put a picture up here of all those national championships. For a while, Minnesota really had it going on. 1904, 1934, 35, 36, 1940, 1941, and ending in 1960. A string of national championships here. It's a very proud program. I know people back east don't see a lot about this, but overall, not quite the day we'd like, but a beautiful place to play football. We'll go in and talk to Mike, talk about the injuries and what he saw today. All right, we've decided to shoot one more segment because what we didn't say before, now we've talked to Loxley, is there were a lot of freshmen that played today. And I actually asked Lox, did he ever expect to play this many? You guys can watch the press conference, which is available on TerpTalk, same outlets as this. The number of freshmen that played, especially at cornerback and the defensive backfield, was a lot. Dante Trader played, but he didn't play his usual reps. Glenn Miller did not play at all. Judah Jenkins was 21, got tossed out of the game in the middle of the first quarter because he had a helmet-on-helmet hit. See a picture of that right here. Then you start just going down the list of who played that even I might not have seen playing before. A young man by the name of Jonathan Akins. I actually have a roster list here to go through this. You saw Perry Fisher play out there. You saw Kevin Humes play at corner. You saw Lakai Rowland play at corner. He was 27. And I'm sure I'm leaving a few guys off, along with the guys that you expected, like Kevin Thomas, who played. Chance Harley, who has played before, he was 24. Thomas is 25. Fisher, as you all probably know, is 20. The rotation continues. Jalen Husky, who was brought in to be a cover corner, ends up playing safety the whole game, doesn't get to play corner at all. And it was a lot. Then on offense, Andre Roy got hurt. He got carted off the field right over there as Maryland scored. So you end up with Terrence Davis playing the entire game for the rest of that game at tackle. Tamaris Walker, a redshirt freshman from McDonough, plays a lot at guard. I think they ended up with Dumerville playing at right or left tackle. The number of players that really weren't supposed to be on this field, when you looked at the roster in the beginning of the year, it is amazing, and it affected somebody's fault that so many freshmen played. You can't stop the injuries. I mean, Kellen Wyatt at rush end didn't play, so Reddick, number 10, had a lot of the snaps at rush end. He's a freshman. The guys who they brought in, as others have pointed out on the internet, did not play particularly well, especially in the defensive backfield. Of course, that affected the game. Maryland actually was effective in stopping the run. It's the rest of it that just didn't happen. And on top of that, what you can take from what Loxley said is if they blitzed, then these guys who weren't having a good game to begin with are stuck one-on-one. So they were severely hampered on defense in what they could do because they were being lit up. And it ends up being a bountiful day for the Minnesota offense, especially the passing game. They were not known for that. They're known to be a running team, and got to give credit where credit's due. Minnesota executed very well. Maryland's defense really did take the running game away from them, but Minnesota ends up being lethal through the air. And now we will wrap this up at the very end. This is Wayne. Thanks to Connie for taking pictures and holding the camera and taking notes and all that for today. We will see you as far as football. We will see you after Oregon, and then throughout the rest of the season back in College Park, and then wrapping up in Penn State. Good evening from Minneapolis.